The Curse of Black Hollow. Deep within a forest forgotten by time, there was a village called Black Hollow, shrouded in eternal mist and dark secrets. The people who lived there bore heavy hearts burdened by an ancient tale passed down through generations. A curse, they said, lingered on that land, and no outsider dared cross its borders. The origin of the curse dates back to the 18th century when a stranger, known only as Elias, arrived in the village. He was a man with piercing eyes and sweet words, yet there was something unsettling about him. What few knew was that Elias was a sorcerer seeking revenge. Betrayed by those he trusted, he vowed that Black Hollow would pay dearly for his suffering. On the night Elias vanished, something terrible occurred. The villagers awoke to the sound of anguished screams and found mutilated bodies scattered throughout the village. A strange mark was found on each victim, a burned circle inscribed with unknown runes. From that day, Black Hollow was never the same. The village became a place of isolation and mystery. Those who dared remain were either those with no other choice or families that had lived there for generations. Gradually, fear became part of daily life, just like the constant mist that seemed to whisper ancient secrets to those brave enough to listen. Decades passed, but the curse was never forgotten. Slowly, Black Hollow grew increasingly isolated. The few families who stayed learned to live with the constant terror. But what they didn't expect was that the past would return to haunt them once more. On a cold winter night, a group of curious young people decided to explore the forest. They were tourists from a nearby city, unaware of the local legends. Among them was Sarah, a history student fascinated by mysteries. She had read about Black Hollow in an old book and convinced her friends to join her. "It's just a story to scare children," said Daniel, laughing as they walked along the dark trail. However, as they ventured deeper into the forest, something changed. The air grew heavier, and the sounds of nature vanished. A feeling of being watched enveloped them. When they arrived at the village, they found abandoned houses and streets covered in a thick layer of dust. In the village center stood a stone statue of a man holding a book. Sarah immediately recognized Elias's visage. "It's him," she murmured, a chill running down her spine. While exploring the ruins, one of the friends, Lucas, found a locked basement. "Let's see what's in here," he suggested, forcing the entry. Inside, they discovered old documents and a diary belonging to Elias himself. Sarah read aloud. "Those who dare trespass on the soil of Black Hollow shall meet the same fate as my traitors." It didn't take long for the group to realize something was wrong. Footsteps echoed around them, even when they were alone. Daniel mysteriously disappeared, and despair consumed the others. While searching for him, Sarah found more records detailing dark rituals performed by Elias to summon malevolent entities. As the night wore on, the young people realized they had made a fatal mistake entering the village. Every shadow seemed to hide them, every sound seemed to announce them. A crow perched on Elias's statue, its gaze following them wherever they went. Lucas remarked that the crow seemed like a guardian, but the growing tension among the friends prevented further conversation. The hours dragged on, and the night felt endless. Sarah and her remaining friends sought refuge in one of the abandoned houses but soon realized they were far from safe. The walls seemed to whisper, and shadows danced in the glow of their flashlights. The tension was palpable, and fear turned every small sound into a harbinger of doom. "We need to leave now," insisted Carla, but the village's exit was blocked by a dense fog none of them could penetrate. Determined to understand what was happening, Sarah continued deciphering Elias's writings. She discovered that the sorcerer had sealed the village in a parallel dimension where his curse could thrive. "If we destroy the objects used in the ritual, maybe we can undo this," Sarah concluded. The friends set out to find the items mentioned in the texts: a medallion, a dagger, and a grimoire. Each of these items was hidden in different locations within the village, guarded by dark entities Elias had summoned. Lucas was the first to encounter one of these entities. Upon entering an old chapel, he found the medallion on an altar covered in runes. However, a spectral figure appeared, blocking his exit. He felt the weight of terror, but with courage, he managed to deceive the entity and escape with the medallion. As they faced terrifying challenges to retrieve the items, the bonds between the friends were tested. Secrets were revealed, and tension grew. Carla confessed that she had always had dreams of Black Hollow, as if she were somehow connected to the village. Sarah realized their fates were intrinsically tied to the curse. The quest for the dagger led Sarah to a partially collapsed house, where she faced visions of past events in the village. The screams of former villagers echoed as she fought to maintain her sanity. Finally, she found the dagger buried beneath the floor, but the weight of the visions left her shaken. Chapter 3: The Final Sacrifice. With the items in hand, the group needed to perform a counter-ritual to break the curse. However, Elias's writings made it clear that this would not come without a cost. A sacrifice must be made to restore balance, Sarah read aloud. Tension mounted as each reflected on what that meant. Lucas, who had shown courage throughout the journey, decided to offer himself. "I have nothing to lose," he said, trying to hide the fear in his eyes. But the ritual could not be completed by his will alone. It required everyone's acceptance of the sacrifice. With heavy hearts, the friends proceeded with the plan. The ritual was performed at the village center, where Elias's runes were still etched into the ground. The malevolent entities tried to intervene, but their determination was stronger. In the final moment, as the sacrifice was completed, the village trembled, and the mist began to dissipate. The souls trapped by the curse were freed, and Black Hollow returned to the real world. However, for Sarah, Carla, and Daniel, the price paid would never be forgotten. Back in the city, Sarah couldn't forget the horrors she had witnessed. She knew Elias had been defeated, but the darkness he brought still lingered somewhere. She dedicated her life to studying the occult, determined to ensure that nothing like Black Hollow would ever happen again. Carla disappeared shortly after returning, leaving only a note: "Black Hollow still lives in me." And the village? It remained in ruins, avoided by all, but the winds that blew through its deserted streets still carried whispers of a curse never truly forgotten.